Hey guys, how's it going? Solo back with another weekly Sunday update video. And it seems like you guys really enjoy when I do 4 tickers at a time on the weekends. So let's do that today. And the theme of this episode is going to be the EV sector, or possibly, if you want to think about it that way, the EV bubble. And that's personally what I think is happening right now. I think these EV stocks and this EV sector is just personally just really pumped up right now. And these stocks have gone up so fast in such a short amount of time that I think it's just a matter of time before this bubble pops. But let's take a look and see what's happening in the sector. So the 4 stocks that we're going to look at are Fcel Energy, so ticker symbol FCEL. We'll look at Nkla, ticker symbol NKLA next. Third, we'll look at Palantir. I know it's not in the EV sector, but it's been a very popular stock and I've been getting a lot of comments on it. So we'll take a look at that. Ticker symbol PLTR. And then we'll finish up the video with another request, and that is ticker symbol SBE, which is charge point or switchback energy. So let's get right into it. I've already done some technical analysis on all 4 of these tickers, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of updating. And right off the bat, we're looking at Fcel or Fcel Energy, and you can see it's not that interesting up until about, let's say, November 12th, 13th, 14th, 16th is when it just took off to the moon. So I'm just going to zoom in right here. And you can see we did some TA about 2 weeks ago. I kind of thought my prediction was that Fcel was very overbought, as you can see by the very high RSI curve in the 80 to 85 range, even got as high as 94, which is crazy. And so I rightfully predicted that we would have a pullback. I'm going to delete this arrow for now. And you can see that's exactly what happened. The following day, on December 1st, we had a pretty significant red day, came all the way down to about $9 and some change. But then from December 1st to December 2nd, we had a big day. We gapped down, unfortunately, all the way down to around the $7 range, give or take a few cents. So the interesting thing about that was I had drawn this rudimentary line of support. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of price data there. If I scroll out, there's very little price data in this range right now until about February of 2019. So over a year ago, there's really no recent historical price data. So I wasn't so sure of myself, but it does look like that sell-off, we did dip below that area of what should have been support. And then the following 2 days, December 3rd and 4th, is how we closed out this past trading week. And we did stay above this area of support on both days. In fact, we closed right above it on Thursday, December 3rd, and then Friday we had a little bit of a green day. So that area of support that I've drawn is at about $7.30. Now I will remind you that, again, these are not exact values. So if you see 731, that's not an exact value. All of these technical analysis ranges are exactly that. They're ranges. So if you see a line at 731, it's going to be, let's just say, somewhere around $7, plus or minus 50 cents or so, let's say, in the case of Fcel. So just keep in mind that if you see these numbers on the side, they are not hard and fast and exact numbers. So where do I think Fcel is going to go from here? And can we do some more updated TA? Right now, I think we could put an area of trend around here, around $8.80. And I say that because you have this wick here on November 23rd. You have the top of this candle on November 25th. And you have the bottom of this wick here on November 30th, all kind of in that range, around 883. Now let's see if I zoom out, if that corresponds to any historical price data back in 2019. And a little bit, there's a few candles here topping out back in November of 2018, actually. And actually this candle here on Feb 19 of 2019 kind of topped out right around there. So I think that looks pretty good. So we'll hold that there and see what happens. But the real question you guys want to know is, what is my prediction as far as what do I think this stock is going to do? Is it going to keep selling off, or is it going to bounce off this area of support now? That's a good question. I personally think that $7.30 is going to break, and I think we're going to sell off a little bit more, at least down to about the $6 range, somewhere in the low $6. And I say that because of a couple reasons. The RSI is not as overbought as it was before, but it's still pretty overbought. It's around the low 60s. So that's signaling that maybe there'll be a little bit more of a sell-off. But also, if you take a look at the orange line here, which is the 21-day moving average, and the pink line, which is the 50-day moving average, we're still trading relatively far away from those averages. So I think there will be a little bit of a pullback closer to the 21-day MA. And the other thing is, if we give it a day or 2 or 3 days in this coming trading week, chances are the 21-day moving average, right now it's at about $5.60. Given a couple of days, it'll probably creep up to around the $6 range as well and kind of intersect this area of support. So that's why I think we probably have a little bit of a pullback until the low $6, like maybe $6.10, $6.20, $6.30 range, or maybe even mid $6. And then from that point on, once the 21-day moving average meets this area of support that I've drawn, then we might have a little bit of a rally kind of bouncing off that level. That is my prediction on Fcel. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. Let me know if you have any positions on Fcel, because I don't. I have never traded it, but my prior video 2 weeks ago got a lot of views and there was a lot of interest in it. So it must be a popular ticker for a lot of my audience. So let's see what happens there, and let's keep working and go on to Nkla now. So Nkla has been a little bit nuts, right? I haven't done Nkla TA in quite some time. As you can see, I have this kind of wedge pattern that I've drawn a while back. And what I need to do is really update these Fibonacci levels, because these fib levels are actually pretty old. So why don't I update this to the most recent lows that looks like we're on September 24th of this year. And then I will draw the top to the most recent high, which was back on November 24th intraday. And I'll just adjust this just like that. And then just to clean up this graph a little bit, I think I am going to adjust this trend line here, because you can see we broke out of that trend line. And I'm going to kind of move it up something like this maybe, or maybe something more like this. But even then, that doesn't incorporate a lot of the most recent price data. If I really want to do this, I can move that trend line like that, and then move this trend line to something like this. This might be a little bit more of an accurate picture, but again, we're still in this kind of descending wedge pattern, which is not looking too great for Nkla. Because the other thing is, right now, you may look at the RSI curve and say, okay, look, this RSI is actually pretty oversold. So that might say we're going to have a little bit of a bounce back. So we'll keep that in the back of our minds, but let's keep looking at this graph here. The reason why I'm bearish right now on Nkla is because, take a look at this. Ever since about June of this year, every high point that it's set, like here, I mean, here's a little bit higher, but here, it's always a lower high than the previous high for the most part. So that tells me that kind of more of a midterm pattern, it's bearish. So maybe short term it could be bullish, but right now, for the past roughly 6 months, it's kind of in a downward trend, which is not what I want to see in a stock, especially a stock that I am thinking about wheeling. I want to see the complete opposite. A stock I want to wheel, I want it to go up and to the right, not down and to the right. So I would personally stay away from Nkla. I don't have any interest in trading the stock, and that's just on the technicals that I'm looking at. I'm not even talking about the fundamental aspect of Nkla and how there's jokes going around that it's basically just a Photoshop company and how their cars only move when they're rolling downhill. I don't even want to touch that. But just looking at the technicals, I'm not really looking, favorably upon Nkla right now. The other things that are bearish to me is that it's trading below the 21 and the 50-day moving averages. I don't like that. I want a stock that's trading above or rather at the 21 and 50-day MAs. So let's just see, what do I think is going to happen in the short term if people have positions on Nkla. I will say right now, just drawing these fib levels, I'm liking these fib levels because this 61.8% fib level right here, it looks like it's a pretty accurate area of resistance back in October. Right now, the closest fib level is right around here, the 78.6% level, which is around $20 and some change, like mid to high $20 range. And this area of support, or what now is actually resistance, is right next to that fib level around $20.30. So I think somewhere in the $20 range is going to be resistance right now. And so the question then is, well, where's support? Well, if I zoom out, I think there's not a lot of price data before June in the price ranges that we're trading at right now. So I actually think our support, we are pretty close to support. I think our support is going to be around the low $17. And I say that because these two candles on December 1 and 2 bottomed out right there. You have the bottom of this wick here on November 10th, kind of the bottom of this wick here on October 30th, bottom of these 3 wicks back in September as well. So I think the one nice thing right now is that we are very close to support, but we're also very close to resistance. We're kind of in this middle range between about 17 and some change and 20 and some change. So I think this is the range that we're going to trade in right now. It's really going to be up to Nkla to decide what it's going to do, because I could go either way. The RSI is kind of in the middle, so not really overbought, maybe a little bit oversold. But I think what we have to wait to see is if Nkla is going to go up and then use this as support, meaning blow past 20, or is it going to continue to just sell off below 17? If it continues to sell off below 17, I would be very worried, because it hasn't traded below 17 since May of this year. And even before that, it was just hovering around like $10, $11 earlier in the year. As you can see, it hasn't been trading publicly for that long. It just started trading publicly since around 2018. But at that point, it was basically trading for $8, $9, $10 a share. So I would be very concerned about Nkla personally, because I wouldn't want to run that risk, because if it drops below 17, it's going to be like a lookout below situation, and where really is the bottom now. So I would not want to end up bag holding this with shares or trying to run the reel on it. I don't know if I'm assuming the premiums are going to be juicy just because it's kind of been a hype stock or a meme stock. But for me, it's not worth the risk right now on Nkla. And I think if I had shares or options on this, I would be kind of going into damage control mode to try and either limit my losses or just to get out of that trade completely. But again, this is not financial advice. It's just my opinion. So let's move on to Palantir right now. So Palantir has not been trading for that long. It just went public on September 30th. You can see there's an orange line for the 21-day moving average, but there is no 50-day moving average right now, or yet, because it hasn't been trading for that long. So I did make a video on Palantir recently, but let's do some updated technical analysis. In both of my videos, I did kind of predict that Palantir was going to sell off a little bit, because just like the other stocks we've looked at, especially Fcel, it was very overbought, right? A lot of the EV stocks, which I'll show you, were all overbought. And that's the sign of a bubble and the sign of a hype stock or a meme stock. So that bubble has to either deflate very slowly, which is probably the best case scenario, or just flat out pop and just crash, right? So that's my fear with these EV stocks right now. And that's why I have not had any positions in EV tickers, nor do I want to, just because I'm afraid of that bubble popping. But let's see if we can do some updated TA. You can see I've drawn areas of support and resistance, and our closest area of support is at about $24. And the nice thing is, it looks like it's been accurate, because on Thursday, December 30th, we topped out at that level. It was basically acting as resistance that day. And then Friday, we also bottomed out right at that level too. And also on November 24th and 25th, same scenario. We topped out on the 24th, bottomed out on the 25th. So it does look like $24 right now is, as of Friday, an area of support. So again, this is one of those tickers where we're going to have to see what the market wants to do come Monday morning. I suspect we'll have a little bit of a sell-off back down to this area of support around $21. I mean, the other option, of course, is that it can bounce off 24 and go up. But the reason why I think it's going to go down is for two reasons. One, it'll be closer to the 21-day moving average, and the RSI curve is showing that it's more to the overbought side. So I think we're due for a little bit of a cooling off period. I think the whole EV sector is going to cool off. So my prediction is that we're going to sell off a little bit to at least $21 over time. And like I said, similar to Fcel, given enough time, if it takes, let's say, 2 or 3 trading days to get there, by that time, the moving average is probably going to be intersecting the high 20s or $21 support level. So that's going to act as a kind of extra area of support. So I do think that we'll see a little bit of a sell-off in the short term in the coming trading days. Again, just my opinion. I don't really think I can add any new areas of support and resistance right now, just because there's not a lot of price action. Maybe, and I don't even want to draw this, but maybe there's an area of resistance around 28, because these two candles here topped out on November 30th and December 1st. But again, it's just literally 2 days of trading. I'll leave it up there for now just to see if it holds up, but I'm not very confident in that. And I only put that up there because if it does bounce off 24, then maybe 28 is the ceiling. But time will tell, and we'll follow up in a few trading days. And lastly, let's finish up with SBE or Switchback Energy, another ticker in the EV sector. And similar to Fcel, as you can see by my arrow, I thought, or I predicted, that we were going to have a sell-off, and that's exactly what happened. So let me delete that for now, just so the stock chart is not muddied. And, you know, I'm kind of like a broken record right now, because you could basically look at the Fcel chart, the SBE chart, and the Nkla chart, and they look very similar. Again, very overbought in the month of November towards the end. We cooled off by selling off a little bit closer to the moving averages, and then the last 2 days were a little bit green. So let's see what we can do in terms of areas of support and resistance. So this stock has been trading for a decent amount of time, since a year, a little over a year, September of 2019, but you can see it didn't really gain any traction until a year later, September of 2020. And it really got crazy around mid-November, where it just kind of went parabolic the whole month of November. So let's see if we can draw some updated areas of support and resistance. I think right around here, 1550s or so, looks like it's kind of been acting as support and resistance earlier in the year. So that's probably going to be an area of support. Maybe somewhere around here, 1770 or so is also going to be support. Looks like some of these wicks and candles back in early November topped out there. This wick back in late October topped out there. So we'll leave that there. Now, the real question is, what about anything closer to where we're trading right now? It's tough. I think maybe $29.50 or so is going to be support, because it looks like we bottomed out this candle here, topped out this candle there, bottomed out this candle or wick, almost topped out this wick here, and these two wicks on December 3rd and 4th, this past Thursday and Friday, kind of almost bottomed out there too. So I think right now, somewhere around $29.50 is acting as our closest area of support. Now, where is resistance? That is a good question. Maybe somewhere, I want to say somewhere around like $36, because you have this wick, and kind of this wick. I was debating whether to go lower around like 35s or go higher. I kind of picked the spot in the middle, and the effect is still the same. Somewhere in the $35 to $36 range, I think, is going to be the area of resistance right now. And so again, it's going to be up to the market to decide if SBE is going to sell off a little bit back down to $29.50, or is it going to continue to rally in the short term up to maybe $35, $36, and then we'll see what happens from there. I think just like the other stocks, I think we're going to have a little bit of a continued sell-off. And I say that again because for the same reasons. The RSI curve is still towards the overbought side. It's around 67. We're trading pretty far away from the 21 and the 50-day moving averages. So I think, just like I thought with Fcel, just like I thought with Nkla, and even though Palantir is not in the EV sector, it's still in this category of this kind of hype or meme stock right now in the month of November. I know we're in the month of December, but we're still trying to, I think, come back down from earth regarding what happened in November. So I do think we'll have a little bit of a pullback. We need to see if 29.50 is going to hold us support, and then are we going to bounce off that, or are we going to continue to sell off? If we continue to sell off, I think the next area of support is going to be around $26. Again, similar story. If we give it a couple of trading days, the 21-day moving average is probably going to be also around 26, but also you can see we kind of have the tops of this candle and the bottom of this candle around 26. So this is the question. Is 29.50 going to hold, and are we going to bounce up and off it to maybe all the way up to 36? Or is that going to break, and then are we going to hold now at 26? That's pretty much my technical analysis update on Fcel, on Nkla, on Palantir, and Switchback Energy / ChargePoint. I don't have positions in any of these tickers. Nothing I say is financial advice. Let me know in the comments below if you have any positions, whether you own shares or options on any of these tickers. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my technical analysis. As always, join the Discord server, add me on Twitter, add me on Instagram, follow me on Reddit, follow me anywhere you can, basically. Leave me a comment below, smash the like button, make sure you subscribe, and as always, have a happy weekend and happy trading. I'll see you tomorrow.